PlayStation 6 just got body slammed by the AI boom. That's the headline vibe, and it hits like someone cancelled your weekend plans mid-sip. The people who make consoles want memory chips, and the people who make AI servers want all the memory chips, forever. Guess who shows up with the bigger wallet and the smaller conscience? Rest assured, this narration is provided by a real human brain, mostly because an AI wouldn't make this many questionable jokes. You and I are about to pay the training chatbot's tax, and we're not even getting a cool robot butler. The robot butler is NVIDIA's, and it's using your future PS6 as a coaster. So, what's being thrown around right now? Bloomberg-sourced reporting says Sony is considering pushing the next PlayStation to 2028 or even 2029 because memory supply is getting choked by data center demand. That's not a "we missed a meeting" delay. That's a calendar is a suggestion delay. And while your brain is still processing that, Nintendo's side of the story is basically this. Price is $450 for now. Don't look at us like that, with the president openly admitting they'll reevaluate if memory costs keep climbing. That's corporate for we're holding the line until the line catches fire. Now context before specificity, because otherwise it sounds like gamer conspiracy hour. Consoles are glorified memory logistics. Every frame you see, every texture that doesn't look like wet cardboard, every open world game that doesn't stutter like it's reading from a teleprompter, all of it leans on fast RAM and a steady supply chain. The problem is that RAM isn't just RAM anymore. The really spicy stuff, high bandwidth memory like HBM3E and the next generations, became the lifeblood of AI accelerators, and the margins on that are absurd. So, the industry is pivoting capacity toward AI, because greed is the most efficient renewable energy source on Earth. Here's where you versus them gets personal. You want a box under your TV that runs games. They want server farms that print money, while generating new ways to autocorrect your emails into nonsense. They aren't bidding $10 more. They're buying the whole buffet and leaving you with the garnish. If you've ever wondered how it feels to be the less profitable customer, congratulations, you're living it. The industry will still tell you this is about innovation. So, when people say PS6 delay, what they really mean is Sony is staring at a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet is laughing. The traditional cycle says PS5 launched in November 2020, so a 2027 successor would match the old rhythm. But if the silicon isn't there, tradition turns into fan fiction. This isn't Sony announcing anything official yet, to be clear. This is the kind of reporting where executives are considering options, which is business speak for we're trying to avoid being roasted on social media while we reshuffle the entire plan. The roast is coming anyway. And yes, the internet reaction is exactly what you'd expect: equal parts panic, cope, and people posting charts like they're defending a thesis. Reddit users in gaming leaks and rumors have threads spinning off into console cycles are dead, and mid-gen pro refreshers are the new normal, which is a polite way of saying we'll buy whatever they sell us because we're tired. That subreddit is basically a group project, where nobody agrees on the topic, but everybody still argues like the grade depends on it. It does emotionally. Let's talk about the Switch 2 20% price hike part, because that's where misinformation loves to set up camp. That 20% figure shows up in analyst modeling. DFC Intelligence talked about pricing pressure and modeled a 20% increase over a couple of years in the context of broader conditions, and outlets ran with it. Meanwhile, Nintendo's actual public line, as of early February 2026, is no plan to raise the Switch 2 price right now, but the situation could force a rethink later. That's not a confirmed hike. That's a "don't tattoo $450 on your wrist" warning. The internet heard warning and translated into incoming financial hit. So why is this happening now? Because AI demand isn't a cute trend anymore. It's a capital tsunami. The memory manufacturers are shipping next-gen HBM parts, companies are bragging about speeds and yields, and the whole market is treating high-bandwidth memory like the new oil. Reuters has been covering the HBM arms race, with Samsung shipping HBM4, and rivals fighting for dominance, which should tell you how much money is on the table. And when money is on the table, consumer electronics becomes the kid eating last at Thanksgiving. You're the kid. There's also a brutally simple incentive. Consoles sell at thin margins, sometimes at a loss early on, because the real money is software and subscriptions. AI hardware sells at "are you kidding me" margins, because enterprises will pay whatever keeps the model training. That means memory manufacturers would rather pre-sell capacity to AI buyers than negotiate with a console maker trying to keep retail under $500. So even if Sony and Nintendo have great relationships and long-term contracts, the gravity of demand pulls everything toward data centers. Gravity always wins. And let's be honest, the PS5 generation already got stretched by real-world chaos. There were supply constraints, scalpers, shortages, and an era where buying a console felt like trying to get concert tickets from a bot. So the idea that we might be stuck in PS5 forever mode hits a nerve. If PS6 slips to 2029, that's a 9-year stretch. That's long enough for half your backlog to become retro. Your dusty shrink-wrapped games are laughing too. On the Nintendo side, The chaos is different, but still intense. Nintendo has a history of holding price longer than people expect, then doing something completely unhinged, like charging $60 for a remaster you already bought twice. So when Furukawa says no price increase for now, people believe him and also don't believe him at all. Because for now is the two most terrifying words in corporate language. It's the pause before the bill. Here's what the backlash looks like in plain human terms. A lot of gamers feel like the hobby is getting squeezed from every angle: higher game prices, paid online battle passes, deluxe editions that hide the real game behind a season, and now the hardware roadmap itself feels shaky. So when a rumor says PS6 delayed, it lands as cool, another thing I can't have. When another rumor says Switch 2 price up, it lands as cool, another thing I can't afford. The wallet is the final boss. But there's an even darker comedy here. AI companies are competing with you for the same basic building blocks, and they're doing it to automate parts of your job. So your paycheck is under pressure, your hobbies are under pressure, and you're supposed to clap for the future. The future has hands, and it's taking your lunch money. That's the Silicon Crisis vibe. Not the dramatic apocalypse version. The slow, annoying version, where everything gets 10% worse each year, and executives call it market dynamics. Market dynamics, my ass. Now let's not pretend consoles are doomed. Sony and Nintendo aren't helpless. They can lock contracts, they can adjust specs, they can negotiate supply, and they can do what they always do: shift the pain onto you with pricing. If memory is scarce, you might see more emphasis on clever upscaling, more compressed assets, more performance modes that sound like a feature, but are really a compromise. You'll pay more for less and call it choice. Also, the end of the traditional console cycle talk is half doom posting, half real trend. Mid-gen refreshes happened, and people are now trained to accept iterative upgrades like phones. If PS6 gets pushed, the temptation to keep selling Pro variants grows, because it's easier to refresh within a generation than to launch a whole new platform in a hostile supply market. They'll call it flexibility. You'll call it fatigue. What should you actually believe today, February 16, 2026? Start with the boring truth: AI memory demand is real, and it's warping supply priorities. Multiple reports plus the very public race to ship new HBM generations back that up. Next, Sony is weighing timelines like 2028 or 2029, but considering is not a launch date tattoo. Finally, Nintendo is saying no increase right now while keeping the door open if costs stay high. Leaks change fast. Rent does not negotiate ever. Trust your bank account first. If you thought console makers were your friends, you're about to get hit with a reality chair. These companies will absolutely sell you a limited edition faceplate, while quietly moving pricing goalposts behind the curtain. They will act like a delay is a thoughtful decision for quality when it's a supply math problem. Expect them to act like the bump is about value when it's about maintaining margins. You're the margin. And the punchline is that the people most annoyed are also the most trapped. If you're deep in a PlayStation library, you don't just jump ship without feeling it. If you're a Nintendo person, you're buying the next Mario, no matter what it costs, because nostalgia is the strongest currency. So the backlash will be loud, then the pre-orders will open, then everyone will hate buy their way into acceptance. Capitalism loves a comeback story. So what's the move for you, the lunch break doom scroller? Skip the everything is over melodrama right now. Don't precope so hard that you accept any price like it's destiny. Watch official statements. Watch earnings calls. Watch how often companies start talking about supply headwinds. When executives start saying headwinds, it means your wallet is about to faceplant into a hurricane. Learn the corporate weather report. And lastly, keep one eye on the PC side, because this memory crunch doesn't just hit consoles. If data centers keep swallowing capacity, the ripple hits laptops, GPUs, and anything that needs fast memory. So the just build a PC crowd might be about to lose their smugness too. That would be the rare moment of unity in gaming culture. Everyone equally annoyed, together in harmony. The only crossplay we get is shared suffering. One more thing, because the leak economy is a circus with a merch booth. A report hits, then 10 aggregator sites remix it into confirmed. Then a YouTuber makes a thumbnail where the PS logo is on fire. Then your aunt asks if you're still into Nintendo. Pain is viral. Even the better outlets keep it careful, considering make good, because nobody wants to be the clown who promised 2027 and got dunked by 2029. So treat every hot take like a Costco sample, taste it, don't build your whole diet around it. Your diet will be clickbait. If you want a real signal, watch what companies do with mid-gen hardware and pricing, not what anonymous sources say on a Tuesday. Nintendo's president talking publicly about re-evaluating costs is a signal. Sony's ecosystem talk, and the industry chatter about keeping engagement between generations, is a signal too. Signals are boring, and that's why they're useful. Also, if your backlog is huge, this delay is free therapy maybe. End state. The silicon isn't running out, but the cheap silicon is. The AI boom is rewriting the priority list, and gamers are way below train, the next model that writes meeting notes. So yeah, your PS6 hype might need to sit down for a while, and your Switch 2 budget might need a contingency plan. The internet will keep yelling, the leaks will keep leaking, and you'll keep refreshing, like that changes anything. It won't, but you'll do it anyway.